I'm just outside Seattle for the launch of this all-new Cadillac XT4. Check this out. Cadillac is going to have a brand new model every 6 months through 2020. They're reinventing their whole lineup of vehicles. They have a major vehicle offensive that they hope is going to get people excited again about the Cadillac brand. So the XT4 is competing in the most successful and popular segment of the auto industry right now. Small SUV sales are exploding worldwide, and this is the vehicle that they want you to pay attention to. So let's get in. I'll tell you more about the all-new XT4. All right, let's get into this XT4's class, and then we'll see how this vehicle fits into this class. So this is the small SUV class. So we have compact utility vehicles. So that's the XT5 and vehicles like that, the Q5 from Audi, the X3 from BMW. This is sort of just below that. And I think its direct competitors based kind of on size would be the Volvo XC40. That's a good direct competitor. And also the Q3 from Audi. Some of the other competitors like the GLA from Mercedes-Benz and the X2 and the X1 are quite a bit smaller. And you notice that especially in the back seat. And Cadillac made a great point today at the presentation to tell everybody that this is just a little bit bigger than most of its direct competitors and has class-leading rear seat legroom. And that matters because people are trying to buy vehicles like this as good all-rounders, either for single people, empty nesters, or you could even use it for a family. So that's where it fits in size. I do notice, however, that the cargo area is kind of small, but that's what you get with this size of vehicle. All right, then you get into what Cadillac is trying to do to get people into their products. First and foremost, when you look at this XT4 is bam, style. And I have to say, and I've been on record for many years, that I really like the direction that Cadillac is going with their styling. First and foremost, because it's different. There's so much in the marketplace that's homogeneous, and you have to hand it to Cadillac for coming up with a design language. When you see it, you know right away that it's a Cadillac. And it starts first and foremost with the vertical daytime running lights. And now on the back of this product, they integrated tail lamps that look different depending on which trim you get. And they said the look of the tail lamps was actually borrowed from one of the coolest cars Cadillac has made in the last 10 years, and that was the CTS wagon. So that's kind of a tip of the hat to what they did with that car. Now, I mentioned different kinds of styles. So Cadillac going forward, as I mentioned, this is the beginning of an onslaught of new products. Every 6 months they're coming out with a new car. They're going to have a luxury line and a sport line. The first vehicle I'm driving today is premium. And over on the sports side, they could potentially put a V or a V Sport model with this product. And you see a difference when you look at them. Of course, the wheels look more assertive on the sport model with wider spokes. They've got blacked out chrome grille, black trim on the outside of the vehicle, different tail lamps. Even though they're the same shape, they have clear lenses on the outside to give it a more dynamic look. But overall, I think the design of this product is very attractive. The wheels are pushed out to the corners. It has a very solid stance, especially that sport model from the back with the exhaust tips. Looks really, really good. So I like the way Cadillac is going with their design. They have certainly done a good job with that. Then you get into the inside, and what they've done is they've cleaned up some of their missteps over the last few years. And for a lot of people, it was the slide, touch-sensitive volume knob, and the previous what was called Q system or Cadillac user experience. They've dropped that name altogether, and they've just gone to a new infotainment system. And it has a rotary dial now and a volume control, just like most of the competitors that you get from Germany. So I like the fact that they've got that combination of the rotary dial and the volume knob. Audi does that. Some other brands do not. So the screen looks good. The graphics are simple. I've played around with it a bit today. I'd have to spend more time with it, but that is an improvement over the previous Q system. And then on the dashboard, you've got a bunch of redundant buttons, mostly for climate control, and you have the automatic climate control and then some other things like heated seats and other switches below that. So getting rid of those capacitive touch swipe features is going to be welcomed by a lot of people. Then you start to look at the finer details. You know, it's nice soft materials, The dashboard has the stitch look, and you know what? It's competitive with the vehicles it's going up against. You always have to remember who it's competing against and how it compares. And I would say that the vehicles it's up against, it does a pretty good job. Another vehicle I would probably put in this category would be kind of close, would be the NX from Lexus. So style on the outside is good. Features on the inside are good. Apple, Android, 4G LTE connectivity, OnStar, all the stuff that General Motors, in my opinion, does particularly well. Then you get into the powertrain. We have under the hood the brand new 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. So this is a twin scroll turbo, and it has 3 different valve modes. So there's actuators inside the engine that move the cams back and forth to affect a different profile for the valves. What does that mean? You don't need to know the technical side of it. One is for economy, one is for sport, and the third one is for cylinder deactivation. So at light loads, cruising along like I am now at a steady speed, this engine can switch off half of its cylinders, and it's turbocharged, which is quite complex to do. The output of the engine is 237 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. And they made a big deal about the torque. From 1,400 RPM to 4,000 RPM, you get 100% of that torque, and up to 5,000 RPM, you get 90-something percent. So that's what you're using on a daily basis. Stoplight to stoplight, merging onto the highway, those sorts of things. Torque is your friend. So it's competitive with its other competitive set. Right around 240 horsepower is what everybody is doing in the industry. Now, a 9-speed automatic transmission, and other brands have 9-speed automatic transmissions with very mixed results. This one is very smooth, and when you combine it with the 2-liter turbocharged engine, very, very smooth. So for traditional luxury buyers, they're going to appreciate the refinement that went into this transmission. You can put it into manual mode, you've got paddle shifters behind the steering wheel, so that's the sort of stuff you expect in a premium product from Cadillac. Then you get into the drive modes. It's quite interesting. It's really about the all-wheel drive system. So in one mode, in touring, you're actually just driving in front-wheel drive. So it's the summertime, you don't need the all-wheel drive. Hey, let's save some money on gas. We'll put it into touring, front-wheel drive only. Then you have all-wheel drive and all-wheel drive sport, which has the ability to shift 100% of the available torque to either rear, left, or right wheel. Now, we're driving the luxury side. This afternoon, I'm going to pick up this review in just a moment with the sport trim. I find with the luxury, the steering is a bit too soft for my tastes. I would say that there's going to be a lot of people that really like the very light steering feel, but when you get it through some of the twisty roads, I wish there was more feedback through the steering wheel. So that's the one area I find is a little bit lacking, is the steering for my taste is a little soft. Some people are going to love that. All right, let's do like magic. We'll get into the sport trim and see what that's like. All right, during the break at lunchtime, the great thing about these programs is they have top level people. So the chief engineer of this XT4, who has been working on it for 4 years, is there. So I asked him some specific questions. First of all, this is an in-house Cadillac or General Motors 9-speed automatic. It's not shared, it's not a ZF unit, and I gotta tell you, it is one slick shifting unit. The engine and the transmission work absolutely beautifully together. That, I think, is a high point of this product, along with the styling. And the other thing I found out, if you want to get the adaptive dampers on the sport trim, it's optional. It's not standard equipment. But they've bundled it in a way where you can get the larger wheels and the adaptive suspension as a package, so that's not too bad. It does make a difference, and there is a marked difference between the premium luxury and this one, and this is the one that I would choose. This is not a performance utility vehicle. It's a good handling vehicle, and when you get the sport with the adaptive dampers, you get more connection from the driver to the road, which I think is welcome. It'll be interesting to see how many people order this package. The goal with this new XT4 and the goal with the new Cadillacs coming up over the next few years is to get younger buyers to try these products. And I think if you give this product and hopefully the new ones to come a shot, a lot of people will be surprised by just what Cadillac's doing. they're doing a lot right. So the XT4 is sold in two basic flavors. The premium luxury or the sport model starts at just under $40,000 for the front-wheel drive version and just under $50,000 for these two top trim levels, plus $2,500 more if you want all-wheel drive. The good news is that you get 4 years of service included with any new Cadillac. So I think Cadillac certainly is hitting their stride when it comes to style. These cars look like nothing else on the marketplace, and it's going to be interesting to see what else they come up with as we move forward over the next few years. So we're on the ferry heading back to Seattle. See you next time.